The first thing in today's modern Sahaja Yoga, you have to know that you have to recognize me. That is very important. Very humbly I have to tell you. You have to recognize me and you have to respect me and love me. If in these words, if I can explain to you, that you cannot have a double life. You cannot show love and another side you try to trouble me. First thing is that so far there has been no mass realization. No mass realization. And when there is no mass realization, we cannot blame the people if they did not recognize these incarnations. Because without realization, how can they recognize? But after mass realization, if you do not recognize, then it's a serious thing. You should not be addicted to your previous nonsensical stuff that you had. In the same like there are Hindus. If I tell them that now finish with all these temples and this fasting and all those Brahmanic nonsense, they don't like it. You have to. Now you have become saints. For saints there is no caste, no community, no race. Anyway, you tell to anyone, they don't like it. If you tell it to Jains, they won't like. If you tell it to Buddhists, they won't like. They just want to stick on to the old style which their forefathers have been doing so far. So recognition only doesn't mean that you recognize me as Adi Shakti. But recognition means that in every part of your life, you should know that I am with you.
This experience occurred in Mumbai in 1972 at a program. We were two seekers, me and a younger one, who had this state of self-realization. I was a bit incredulous, but decided to approach a teenager and ask him, "What is it like to be realized?" This question was asked even though I had already had my realization, but refused to accept it. "I feel light," said the young man. So I went and stood next to Shri Mataji. "What is it?" she asked me. I was taken by surprise, did not know what to say, and said the first thing which came to mind. "I want to feel light," I said. Shri Mataji placed her hand on my head, and I started just feeling the vibrations pouring in with a limitless capacity to absorb. This continued until I became completely merged, with a feeling that I could be anywhere I chose in the universe, just by wanting to be there. It felt as if I could reach out to the end of the universe in a moment. This lasted for a while, and then I was back to being Mr. Nothing. On that day, it dawned on me that Shri Mataji was no ordinary person or guru, but greater than even the greatest of gurus. This was in the days when we were gradually coming to realize her true nature, her Shri Adi Shakti.
Jai Shri Mataji, I'm Celine from Belgium, and I wanted to share this story with you. In the beginning of Sahaja Yoga, for me, when I started, I couldn't feel really love for Shri Mataji. And it was not easy because everybody around me was praising Shri Mataji as a mother with so much love. And it took me time. I remember when I watched her talks in the beginning, I could only see the guru, and she was like lecturing me all the time because I was not doing the right thing. and I couldn't see the mother and the love behind. So little by little, I started melting and feel this love in my heart. And after a while, even though she can be very firm in some talks, I could see behind the smile and the love. It's like this picture of Shri Dhanvantari, the doctor, very famous one. In the beginning, I couldn't watch it. It was too hard because she was very serious for me, like she was angry with me. And then, after a while, and now this picture has been on my altar for years, I can see the smile on her face that I couldn't see before. And I guess it's because I just evolved and corrected myself and feel better with me and less angry with myself. So it's interesting to see through my evolution how the perception I had of Shri Mataji also evolved from the very serious guru to the very loving and sweet mother caring for her children. Yes, that's what I wanted to share in these pearls of recognition. Jai Shri Mataji.
Yeah, during that time of the beginning of Sahaja Yoga, when I got my realization, I had a lot of strong doubts about Sahaja Yoga. I had questions. Is this a sect? Is Sahaja Yoga an organization can be trusted? I was not sure. And who is Shri Mataji? And then I asked the question to the book, who is Shri Mataji? And then it was really surprising. I remember it was on a Sunday afternoon on 16 April 89. I asked a question and I get the first hexagrams. You know the hexagrams? It looks like that. Mm-hmm. This sign, these are all yin lines, you know. Yin means feminine, but they are all of them. And I get, by coincidence, the number 2. And the number 2 means it's the earth. It means the receiving. The earth is the receiving. And it's just a feminine sign. And the earth is the surrendering, completely surrendering. And it's the image of the Mother Earth, of the feminine maternal, feminine maternal. And I will quote literally from the book, her wealth consists in making everything more beautiful and delicious. In this way, she creates prosperity for everything that lives. And then, the second sentence is very important. One must be guided. That is the task here. Anyone who knows how to surrender to fate will certainly find the right guidance. The wise is thus guided, and it was written in that book, and I was so surprised because I already was thinking that she is really the mother of the earth, huh? And that opened my eyes. And under I had the second line, and it changed in this line, in this hexagram, and that sign was the army. I will quote from the text. Here appears a competent general, and this general is Shri Mataji, who commands the army obedience by authority of her personality. And then I start to understand that the army is Sahaja Yoga, and we need to be guided by a strong leader. And then it came very clear for me. And then I had no more doubts. I say I will go to the Nirmala Puja in England and Margaret. And then also during the Puja, Shri Mataji spoke about coincidence And she spoke about the quality of the Mother Earth, all qualities of the Mother Earth. And she said also, on the end of her speech, as a Holy Mother, I have guided them, the yogis. You can say I'm like the Mother Earth, who sprouts seeds, so then another detachment can come into you. That these are your powers within you, which have been just enlightened by your innate nature of Kundalini, and so on. And then she spoke also about everything will be synchronized properly, like you say, you know. And she say also, you start doing it, but if you behave like human beings, first thinking and then planning it out, and then cancel it, it's not going to work out. It needs to be, you understand, very spontaneously and like in the flow, and then it go automatically. But if you plan, nothing will work out. That's what she mean. And it was so clear for me, and I was so happy to be there in Margate. And this book told me about Shri Mataji. And from that moment, I was involved completely in Sahaja Yoga. Yeah, because all my doubts were gone. And for me, it was like a miracle. I believed that moment that Shri Mataji was really the one who was predicted by Christ. I realized that.
Nadat ik mijn zelfrealisatie heb gekregen op een hele bijzondere manier en naar de eerste introductieavond was geweest, wist ik dat dit de plek was waar ik moest zijn. Dit was waar ik al mijn leven lang naar op weg was. Ik voelde me thuis, onmiddellijk. En iedere week, de avond in de collectiviteit, de hele week keek ik er reikhalzend naar uit. Kwam ik in de zaal bij de mensen die ik steeds beter leerde kennen. En daar was dan het programma, de uitleg, de meditatie, de talk van Shri Mataji. Er stond een tafel, het altaar met Shri Mataji, de foto erop. En daar wist ik niet goed raad mee. Ik keek wel steeds naar die foto, maar ik begreep het niet zo goed. In het begin ging ik meteen, als de avond gedaan was, werd er nog thee gedronken, maar ik ging al heel snel naar huis. Maar allengs kon ik ook langer blijven en hielp ik mee opruimen en zo. En op een dag stond ik daar zo te kijken naar die foto. En toen was daar Rie en die zag mij kijken. En toen zei ze, Olga, wij aanbidden geen foto hoor. En ik weet niet meer wat ze verder zei, maar ik denk oké. Maar oké, die foto was daar dus steeds. Maar nog steeds had ik niet het idee, maar ik wist wel dat dit de plek was. Hier moest ik zijn. En ik groeide. Het was heel weldadig. Maar op een dag stond ik weer te kijken, na een tijd erna. En toen zag Rie, zag mij kijken. Zei ze, wat zie je? Maar er was inmiddels iets gebeurd. Er was een besef aan doordringen. Al thuis ook. En ik zei, ik geloof dat ik besef wie Shri Mataji is. Oh ja, zei ze. Wie dan? Ik zei, voor mij is Shri Mataji God. En toen ik dat gezegd had, kwam er een enorme sereniteit over me heen. Niks spectaculairs. Er is niet een... Het is heel langzaam tot me doorgedrongen. Maar toen ik het uitsprak, voelde ik het opeens. Shri Mataji is God, is de Adi Shakti.
There I have met Shri Mataji, and she told her speech, she did her speech, and then she did realization. And my impression was that she was a real mother. This was very clear. At this time, I had followed already many therapies and this and that and so on and so on, since 74 already. Since 74, I was busy to look out for something. I didn't know what, but I was to look to find a solution for my life, let me say. And compared with all these other people I have met, she was a real mother. She felt like a mother because she felt like my mother. And my mother was also a real Flemish mother. And she was so easy, so simple, so innocent, so spontaneous. She was like a mother. She was so honest and so true. She felt like true. This was for me the most convincing thing. The more I knew about her, the more I realized who she was, the more I was afraid to be not worthy to be next to her.
Dear family, Jai Shri Mataji, during our meditation, but also in our daily life, we can sing a bhajan. There are so many brilliant bhajans and songs. We do not always understand the meaning. Of course, our subtle system understands them, because it responds to the very auspicious words, notes, and tones. Supreme, sovereign, pure Goddess, we got shelter of your affection. By your protection, we have got shelter. And there is a new morning in our lives. We are not helpless, neither poor now. We are powerful and merciful. Humanity has blossomed within us. This shelter is a beautiful garden. From here starts our new life. That is our beautiful, universal, pure Prem Ashram. Our heads are bowed at your lotus feet, Mother Nirmala. Now you are looking after us. You are caring for us in every moment. Our heads are bowed at your lotus feet, Mother Nirmala. We will walk on your path, where there is your name, and there is a new morning in our lives. Supreme, sovereign, pure Goddess, we got shelter of your affection. By your protection, we have got shelter.
Jai Shri Mataji. The first weeks that I was in the collectivity and getting to know and recognize Shri Mataji, I had this feeling that I was not on my own anymore. Like, oh no, somebody is watching me always. I have no privacy anymore. But now I know that she is always here with us to guide us and to protect us, and never to forget her ever forgiving and tremendous love for us. Now I am so happy for this blessing that she is always there for me and also for you, my dear brothers and sisters. Mother, thank you again and again. Shri Mataji. Another thing which always surprised me is that physically Shri Mataji was smaller than me, and every time when I was in front of her, she was looking really immeasurable, huge, much taller than me. And always she was appearing to me very white, up to a point that one day I said the mantra of Shri Annapurna, as I saw her as a huge mountain while standing in front of me. It was strange. I would have hidden myself like a small mouse in a hole, but nobody noticed what happened, nor heard anything. Always when I was near her, I always felt so small, small like a shy child. I received this name, Madhura, during the Mahalakshmi Puja in Mechelen. It was 1987, when all children received their names, all small children. It was a real benediction, because a lot had changed after receiving my name Madhura. And I was called Madhura by all. It was like a real mantra. Shri Mataji explained that Madhura is a quality of Sri Krishna. Madhu means honey, Ra means nature, energy. At that point, my voice really changed a lot. I used to talk very quickly and with a high voice. And my voice had softened and I started talking much slower. I had the impression that until then, my sweetness, my real nature, had never had the chance to develop. It was a very important transformation and a very strong one.
My first puja. At some point, a puja was announced, and I said I might go, and I asked someone if there was anything I needed to know. I didn't know anything about what the puja was or anything. They said, just wear something nice and maybe bring some sweets. So I wore a purely synthetic set consisting of a purple blouse and a matching long and white skirt. I had gone to the bakery and bought some Moroccan pastries. When I entered, Therese asked Phil to sit next to me to explain the proceedings of the puja, and she lent me her pink songbook to sing along. And I did sing along, and I loved having access to the songbook to know the words. We listened to a puja talk where Shri Mataji says, I am the Adi Shakti. And Phil commented that it was the first time she actually heard Shri Mataji say that. When the Amrut was offered, Phil said I could go to the front since it was my first time. Everyone bowed down, and so did I. It was the first time I bowed down to Shri Mataji. I didn't know what happened to me. It was such a great experience. I felt such a relief. I was so happy to surrender completely. I went completely thoughtless and felt a deep joy. I was just in heaven for the rest of the puja and for a long time afterwards. Now I can explain. I felt I could completely surrender and finally in full security. I had desired to fully surrender for so long, but there was never anything or anyone I could surrender to in full security. And nothing or no one could ever completely or even remotely accept or understand my full being. So it seems I had been waiting for this experience for a long time. After the puja, I was able to buy the pink songbook, and I was walking on clouds, so happy, because now I could read the meaning of the songs. One year, the Belgians were in charge of decorating Shri Mataji's bathroom in the Nirmala temple in Cabella for Adi Shakti Puja. I accidentally came by and asked if I could do something. When I first started Sahaja Yoga and got to know some yoginis and started working with them, I often felt like a bull in a china shop. They are so strong and at the same time so subtle and sweet, whereas I am very practical, straightforward and to the point, and lacking patience, I guess. So, when I asked if I could do something, I was expecting some clear instructions. But it seemed to be going on for ages, deciding how exactly to drape the fabric, how many folds to make, where exactly to put the flower, a bit more to this side, a bit more to that side. I was asking, is there any chance Shri Mataji will actually come to the bathroom? Will anyone see the decorations? Then someone arrived from the castle and had a chat with us. She said Shri Mataji was asking who was in charge of the bathroom. It seemed like a direct answer from Shri Mataji to all the questions I had been asking. What a lesson I learned then and there. Of course Shri Mataji knows everything that is going on, visible or not visible, or even in our minds and in our hearts.
Als we naar Cabella gingen, dan heb jij toch Shri Mataji nog gezien, hè?
Ik ben toch vrijdag 's avonds mee opgereden met de bus. De allereerste keer, hè. En dan hebben we geslapen in de tent, hè. Dat was er een tent, hè. Oh, daar zat ik maar niks mee in. Oh, dat trok me niet aan dat ik in een tent moest slapen. Dat was allemaal... En dat het niet was, want je weet, dan moesten we gaan eten en alles. En dat was ook allemaal boten te doen en zo. En we moesten allemaal met anderen helpen. Ah ja, want anders kwamen ze er niet, hè. Dat was heel plezant. Ik heb toch 5 keer kunnen gaan en dat kan ik ongemeen vertellen. Als ik naar Cabella geweest had, was ik een andere mens. Echt, dat gevoel dat je hebt. En dat kun je aan niemand niet wijsmaken, dat gevoel. Want dat is een goed gevoel. Maar ja, we proberen van ze mee te trekken, maar het is niet gemakkelijk.
It must have been somewhere 2003 when I started Sahaja Yoga. In my hometown, I saw posters and flyers with a picture of Shri Mataji everywhere. And as a young mother of 2 small children, working full-time, I was looking for some quietness, some stillness in myself, and something to recharge my batteries. So I took a flyer and went off to the introductory course. When I opened the door and didn't see this Indian lady, which was pictured on all the flyers, I was kind of disappointed. I really wanted to meet the lady pictured on the flyers. But anyhow, I went to the course, and I kept going to the course because I felt really the rest coming over me, the quietness coming over me. But when reflecting to it now, I thought perhaps was that the first sign of recognizing Shri Mataji, recognizing the magnetism that was vibrated by the picture of Shri Mataji on the flyer. Then later in the course we started singing bhajans and also the great mantra. So I sang the great mantra without knowing the meaning of the words, just singing the sounds. And the effect it had was really amazing. Tears rolled down my cheek and I couldn't stop them. Not knowing what I was singing, I didn't understand what it was doing with me, this great mantra. But when reflecting at it now, I can tell Shri Mataji at that point really touched my heart, put her feet in my heart, cleansed my heart. And that was the moment when I, for the second time, recognized Shri Mataji. Not with my mind, not with my ego. This is something beyond. The recognition really comes from the heart, does something with you. So when they ask me when was the moment that I recognized Shri Mataji, I cannot tell it with my brain, with my mind. It's really that moment when Shri Mataji opens your heart and put her lotus feet in your heart. Jai Shri Mataji. In the meantime, I can tell that it's much more that I found in Sahaja Yoga, much more than only stillness and quietness. Jai Shri Mataji.
Hello, I'm Jenny. I'm going to try to talk a little bit about my experience and how I met Sahaja Yoga and later on really recognized Shri Mataji. I got my self-realization while I was actually walking with my husband near, I think it was Sandwich in Kent, and there was a little tent where people were inviting me in, and they were yogis and gave me very short information about what exactly to expect, except that how I had to sit and so on. And afterwards, I felt like when I came out of the tent, I felt great, like I never felt before. And it was so intense that I said, well, where is your program? I want to come every week to your program, which was on a Wednesday evening in Canterbury, which I did. Yogis, during the programs, they used to talk about a lot, they used the term Mother a lot instead of Shri Mataji. And I must say, at that time, it really made me not feel very comfortable with that word for Shri Mataji. But then I'm talking now about the period of 2003 when I was living in England. And about 6 weeks later, the group from Canterbury, we were about 6 or 7 yogis who went to the airport Heathrow on the morning because Shri Mataji was arriving from India and she was going to stay a few days in England, and afterwards she would go further to Cabella in Italy. And so we all had flowers with us at the airport inside the hall where she would arrive. And what I felt then was tremendous vibrations coming from a door that was still closed, and a few minutes later the door opened and there was Shri Mataji, and that experience was so strong for me that the tears fell without doing anything. I felt the tears, on my cheeks, and there I really did see, Shri Mataji is the mother. She is the mother of everybody, including me. And that was really my encounter with Shri Mataji. And it's always been the most important thing in my life.
Hi, I am Catrien from Belgium. I started Sahaja Yoga 21 years ago, the eve before my 40th birthday. I couldn't imagine a more beautiful present for this occasion. Right from the first meeting, I knew in my heart that this was the needle in a haystack I had been looking for all my life. Just by hearing Mother's talk, Why Are We Here? London, 1994. I had been facing this question for many years before, and this lady gave me all the answers in just 15 minutes. I was stupefied and delighted at the same time. After that introduction to Sahaja Yoga, I would move heaven and earth to join the weekly program. Though I mentally accepted Shri Mataji as the goddess very soon, I only felt this very intense and profound during my first visit at the health center in Vashi. First of all, I felt very clearly Mother was at my side all the time during my voyage to India, as if she was physically sitting and walking next to me. I was full of confidence. Mother would remove even the slightest obstacle, and of course she did. At that time, I was not used to fly by myself, and India was a completely new country for me, especially the Indian way of arranging things. During an individual clearing session in Vashi, as we usually get a lot of homework from the doctors, all of a sudden I received this tremendous blessing of recognition in my heart of Shri Mataji as the goddess and the queen of Sahasrara, which of course was very different from the previous mental understanding. I have been, I am, and I always will be very grateful to be chosen as one of her children. Jai Shri Mataji.
Je ne sais pas combien de temps il m'a fallu pour reconnaître qui était Shri Mataji. Cela s'est fait petit à petit, avec des événements marquants quelquefois. Je crois que j'ai d'abord reconnu l'existence des déités, enfin, en particulier celle de Shri Hanuman, qui m'a vraiment soutenue lors de certaines expériences.
Je l'ai d'ailleurs vu, je dirais, même en chair et en os. Il était couché à plat ventre sur le toit de la voiture. Il a frappé avec ses immenses bras sur le pare-brise et a ainsi évité à la conductrice de s'endormir. Sur les illustrations que j'ai de lui, ses poils sont clairs. Quand je l'ai vu, ses poils étaient marron foncé. Et puis, je suis distraite. J'égare souvent mes objets. J'ai vite compris qu'il suffisait de demander l'aide de Shri Hanuman pour retrouver, et Dieu sait qu'il s'est souvent démené pour moi. À plusieurs reprises, j'ai vu Shri Ganesha dans le ciel. Une fois à Cabella, je m'étais assise dans la rivière avec le désir de purifier mon Muladhara. J'ai levé les yeux et il était là, petit, dansant dans le ciel bleu et sans nuages. À une certaine période et pendant plusieurs mois, il suffisait que je m'installe pour choubiter, pour l'apercevoir. La dernière fois que je l'ai vu très clairement, il était immense, de profil. Il prenait toute la place dans le ciel. J'étais tellement impressionnée, tout cet honneur pour moi. Je me suis sentie intimidée. Je le lui ai dit et j'ai baissé la tête. Quand je l'ai relevé, il me saluait, sa tête toujours aussi immense dans le ciel. Je pleurais d'émotion. Après, je ne l'ai plus vu du tout pendant très longtemps. Je ne l'ai d'ailleurs plus jamais revu aussi clairement, et je regrette un peu d'avoir été aussi timide. J'ai rêvé de mère aussi plusieurs fois, notamment qu'elle était devant moi avec son sari blanc. J'ai regardé ses pieds, et c'étaient ceux de Shri Ganesha. J'ai reçu l'aide de Shri Rama. Je ne l'ai pas vu, mais j'ai senti si fort sa présence, je ne pouvais pas douter. Il était là, à côté de moi, et ce qu'il me demandait était très clair. Enfin, je ne pourrais pas raconter toutes les expériences. Juste une dernière, qui je crois a été un des moments décisifs dans ma reconnaissance de Shri Mataji. Mon frère était venu à la maison. Il était entré dans ma chambre. Il fallait qu'il le fasse pour accéder à la salle de bain. Il a vu l'autel, la grande photo de mère, et il était choqué. Il s'est assis sur le lit, les pieds vers Shri Mataji en demandant « C'est quoi ça ?» J'étais désolée pour Shri Mataji vraiment. Puis je lui ai dit, à mon frère, « Je sais que tu penses que le Christ a vraiment existé. Tu écoutes des chansons qui parlent de lui quand tu empruntes ma voiture. Alors, si le Christ a existé, pourquoi il ne pourrait pas y avoir à notre époque quelqu'un comme lui ?» Il m'a répondu, « Et tu crois vraiment que cette dame-là, elle est comme le Christ ?» Il s'est assis avec les pieds en dessous des fesses. Il s'est tu. Il y avait plein de vibrations dans la chambre. Nous nous aimons beaucoup, lui et moi, depuis toujours. Il ne médite pas, ne montre aucun intérêt pour Sahaja Yoga. C'est un intellectuel brillant, mais il me défend et me soutient souvent. Et je me souviens de nos conversations d'enfants.
All my life, I've been seeking. I went to all possible teachers in various groups. In 1995, I had a trip from Estonia to the north of Russia, the city of Arkhangelsk. Together with a friend, we ended up with the chairman of one of the communities there. He himself had just learned about Sahaja Yoga, and we asked him to tell us about it. We were offered to sit on chairs. On his desk was a small black and white photograph of Shri Mataji and various photocopies of the texts. He ran his index finger over the text and gave us instructions. Please hold your hand here, move it there, repeat the affirmations. I couldn't feel the cool breeze that time, but all this was so interesting that I immediately realized that this was what I needed. The chairman shared copies of the Sahaja Yoga printouts, and I read them all on the way home. At home, first of all, my husband and I went through the self-realization protocol with the help of the booklet we had. We started doing foot soaking daily. The nearest city with Sahaja Yoga was Petersburg. It was quite far from us. You had to go by bus all night. I went there alone a week later. This was the first meeting with Sahaja Yogis and my first video of Shri Mataji. They made an extraordinary impression on me. After the program, I felt that I was floating like a bird. Our seeking was over. My husband and I took a deep dive into Sahaja Yoga. We meditated and cleansed ourselves, talked with Sahaja yogis on the phone, went to programs in Petersburg, posted announcements in newspapers, and gave self-realization. We burned all our esoteric books. Once we got a call. "Is this the Sahaja Yoga office?" asked a very serious male voice. "Yes, of course," I answered without hesitation. This is how we met someone who later became one of the deepest Sahaja yogis and our close friend. Gradually, centers began to appear in cities nearby.
Привет, дорогая семья. Меня зовут Станислав. Я из коллектива Эстонии. Наверное, самое главное и первое переживание, которое я испытал, это была непосредственно самореализация. Но на тот момент я не смог найти в себе смелости и сказать себе, что это божественное происхождение. Поэтому дальнейшее мое развитие в Сахаджа-йоге каждый день приближало меня к этому осознанию и подтверждало то, что я не смог, в чем я не смог признаться себе тогда. Дальше были несколько очень глубоких медитаций, несколько снов, в которых я видел Шри Матаджи. Я помню ту пуджу, которую я смотрел на видео одним утром, где Шри Матаджи объявила о том, что она есть Ади Шакти, и как я аплодировал вместе с йогами на видео. На данный момент мое сознание таково, что признание Шри Матаджи заключается в том, что в каждом аспекте нашей жизни мы являемся отражением ее мудрости, отражением ее слов, которых мы впитываем в себя. В каждом моменте нашей жизни должна проявляться сама Шри Матаджи. Поэтому каждое утро мы начинаем с того, что в молитве мы взываем к Матери. Мать, пожалуйста, войди в наши сердца. Мать, пожалуйста, пусть наши сердца очистятся, так, чтобы ты была там. Джай Шри Матаджи.
Hello, my name is Vesa. When I was young, I had a friend. One day I met her in bar and she was drinking water. I asked her, what has happened that you are drinking water in bar? And she said she just had self-realization and she don't want to drink alcohol anymore. I asked her if she could guide me for this self-realization, because I can see that it has done very good for her. She took me to the ashram in our hometown, and there was a leader and some yogis, and they guided me how to. They gave me self-realization. I couldn't feel any cool breeze for 3 months, but I meditate every day and I felt inside of me all the time that something very good is happening. And when I was listening Shri Mataji's speech, I knew that she is what she says she is. In the first puja, everything opened, and I felt all that love, all the good vibrations, everything, and I knew, I felt that Shri Mataji, she's Mother, she's God.
Jai Shri Mataji. First time I met Shri Mataji, it was in a office of my future Reiki brother, and I asked him if he knew meditation, and he jumped on his chair and he said, yes, do you know Sahaja Yoga? And he gave me one flyers, and I saw the photo of Shri Mataji, and I saw the beautiful eyes of Mother, and something really in heart happened, and I say, I know her, I don't know where, but I know her. So then after I got my realization, the next Monday, it was on Wednesday, so on next Monday I got my realization, and I was feeling like I say it's funny to him because it's like Shri Mataji is here physically. And he was a little bit smiling and he said, she is here. I say, yes, but it is like she's not physically, but subtly she's here. So then after I started to meditate and asking myself questions about Shri Mataji, and used to ask her who you are exactly, because I had some quite little strange experience, so I wanted really to be sure it's not to do wrong things. And inside me I asked, please Shri Mataji, show me who you are, and please show me. And after 3 weeks of meditation, I don't know, it happened like this. Suddenly I said, Shri Mataji is God within me, and I said, oh it's possible. And immediately I say, I will say to my Reiki brother, Thierry, I say, I will ask him. And then after I say, come, please come immediately, because I have urgent question to you. Then he came, and I say, maybe you will think that I am stupid, but I realize, means within me, something very strong happened, that Shri Mataji is God. And he just smiled, and he said, what do you feel in your heart? I say, I feel she's God, but it's so surprising, And really, it was 23 years back now, but I really remember, like, at the very moment I felt this feeling for Shri Mataji. And then after I didn't have any doubt, and it established. And then not first time, but I saw Shri Mataji in Royal Albert Hall, and we went on the side of Royal Albert Hall, and it was not expected, but Shri Mataji came down, and she was so beautiful in white sari, and really that time she appeared like a goddess, and I say, she's really the goddess, and that's it. And Jai Shri Mataji, and thanks again to Shri Mataji for this realization, but this strong feeling this day. Jai Shri Mataji.
It was a moment where I felt my hands, my arms, my head go completely cool, vibrations flowing out of everywhere. unable to think, unable to understand what was happening, but at the same time feeling extremely peaceful, extremely detached, and most importantly, I was feeling very, very joyous without feeling excited. And there was Shimaji in front of me, and I knew that this was because of her.
I got my realization in May 1990 in Amsterdam, in my own apartment. Sahaja Yogini, she came to my house and we did a realization exercise. And also she worked on me. I felt such a tremendous calm coming to me, such a deep silence. I never experienced that before. And I knew Sahaja Yoga was really something special. She invited me to come to the course, which was a week later. And when I came in, I immediately felt like coming home. I was impressed by the smiling faces, the loving faces, the kindness from the yogis. We started to meditate, and we also watched the video of Shri Mataji. It was Sri Hanumana Puja from the year before, where she explained that we are all angels. And can you imagine, before Sahaja Yoga, I didn't believe in God. I thought that we can explain everything by science and by logical sense. So this concept of being that we are all angels was really new for me, but I straight away felt that it was true. I felt that it was true what Shri Mataji was telling us. There was also a lot of humor, and she was laughing a lot, and that was really very appealing to me. When I came home, I felt light, and there was so much joy in my heart. And then, little by little, I started to understand who Shri Mataji was. She appeared to me in a dream as Mother Mary. And that Shri Mataji found this way to show me, because I understand that she was actually Mother Mary. And I had a background of, my family was Catholic. So I really could understand Mother Mary, and that's why she appeared like that to me. And I was touched by the way Shri Mataji knows each one of us. The way she knows how to guide us, how to make us understand who she is in such a subtle way. And I just hope that and pray day after day that we just can mean the same thing for all the people around us. Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji. It was in May of 1982. I'd just come back from a journey around India looking for something. I didn't really know what, because I didn't believe in any gurus or even astrology. Everything I thought was really airy-fairy. I went to live with my sister in Brighton, in England, and suddenly I saw photos of Shri Mataji everywhere in the city. I told her, have you seen those photos of Shri Mataji? She said she hadn't seen anything. There was going to be a program, so I went on Saturday evening. It was in the Pavilion, beautiful Indian building in Brighton. And when Shri Mataji came in, we all stood up, and it felt very special somehow. I felt something inside myself even then. Then when she was talking, I started feeling every word she said was hitting the nail on the head so much. I was thinking, yes, thank goodness somebody's saying this. And you could really feel that she was the mother who was telling you things like, smoking's not good for you. I was thinking, yeah, nobody tells you that. Everything felt so true. And so I listened to her speech, and at the end was the realization session. And afterwards, the yogis came to work on everybody. They said, you can stay in your chair. and we'll come and help you if you didn't feel it. So they came and worked on me, and I did feel cool, but I was thinking that they might be blowing on my head, so I was not really sure about it, but I felt it. And then Shri Mataji started walking around to help people who are having problems, but I was a bit disappointed because I had already felt it. So they said, well, if you just sit there, maybe she'll come to you anyway. So I stayed and waited, hoping that she would come. At some point she walked towards me and she just stroked my face like this and she said, "Did you feel it, my child?" So this felt a very special moment. And somehow I had a feeling, without specifics, but just I felt like a weight had fallen off my shoulders. And I somehow inside myself I also thought, you're here now again after so long. We've been waiting for you. And now you're here. So from that moment I just felt that this was it for me. The next day I got up at 5 o'clock, which had not happened since I'd been a child. And I just felt so happy to be alive and full of vibrations. And I sat there meditating, and I felt cool actually, even coming from above into my sahasrara. And I just knew this is it. So I knew I have to jump into it. Otherwise I might get lost again into the Maya. So I took a decision, this is what I want my life to be. I want to know about this. I want to join it. And I want to follow this lady. So that's what I did.
Shri Mataji, after 1 year that I got my realization, there was a point in my life when I have to really find out what I really want. Is it Shri Mataji or is it the worldly things that are around me? So I was completely on bed because of my spine. So there was problem with my back and I was not able to do anything, not even go to the toilet myself. So at that point I went to the doctors and did everything, whatever was possible for me, but nobody could help me at all. Even the X-ray reports were saying there is no problem at all, it's all okay. And then I had to really think like what can really be done, and I was only looking towards Shri Mataji's picture and saying that, Shri Mataji, I think you are the only one who can help me now. I don't think there is anybody who can take me out of this problem. And then I got a call from a yogini and who told me that, okay Rupina, are you doing something else except from Sahaja Yoga? Is there anything that you are doing? I said, I was just thinking, and I said, yes, there is something that I did, and that was like I believed in my mother, and she gave me a stone to wear, and I wore that stone because she said that you can wear it and it's good for you. And then she said, do you think, now you have to choose whether you want that belief that your mother is saying, or you want to really believe in what Shri Mataji is doing for you. So you need to choose. This is the point, you need to choose. And then I closed my eyes, I sat in front of my altar and I just looked at Shri Mataji's photograph and I said, Shri Mataji, really, I only want you. I don't want anything else. I just want you. And I know because you are my mother, my real mother. And then I just closed my eyes and I removed that stone from my finger and I put in front of Shri Mataji and I said, Shri Mataji, I trust you. I just trust you. I don't trust anybody but you. And then I just went back and I sat on my bed. And you will not believe, in 2 days I was walking. And then I called again that Sahaja Yogini who told me, and I said that, I'm walking. And she said, yeah, that's what you have to just believe in Shri Mataji. She's there for you always, always. Don't let any fear, wobble you. And then that was the real moment, that first time when I really trusted Mother and I recognized her. And that was this journey that started for me. And I think I have many such experiences after that, where I had to choose. And when I chose Shri Mataji, you know what wonderful things you get and what blessings you get. So this is my story, and I always look back to this incident and gather my trust back always when I am in a situation where I have to really go here or there, and then I know where I have to go. So that's it. Thank you.
When I just started to meditate, some of the yogis gave me a picture of Shri Mataji, and I knew it was necessary, it was very important to use that photograph while meditating. And I always used it, and I never thought about who Shri Mataji was. But after some time, when somebody told me that Shri Mataji is God, I thought, yes, of course, she's God. I think I always knew, but I never doubted.
So my name is Henno. I got my realization in 1985 when Shri Mataji came for the first time to the Netherlands to give a program. It was in The Hague and I was living in Amsterdam, and I had decided I need to really see this special lady that I saw on the posters. So all the way during the train ride and the bus ride, there was this little voice inside myself saying, you're going to go to see something very special. This is going to be very, very special. And it was a very silent little voice, but there was this mood of anticipation. I knew something was going to happen. And so I sat down in the hall. It was a fairly large hall, about 600 people came. And I could see the buzz of all the Sahaja Yogis full of anticipation for Shri Mataji's arrival, and I felt something really is going to happen. And so finally at one point we understood Shri Mataji had arrived, and also so the hustle and the bustle, you can say, in the hallway, and we all sat seated. And when Shri Mataji entered the hall and she sat down, it was something really, really special happened to me, because this voice inside myself said, I know who you are. I know who you are. Something very, I don't know how to explain it. It was like as if my spirit knew, had such an instant recognition of Shri Mataji, and my mind in a way was trailing behind. My mind was saying, but how come you know who she are? But the spirit in me was so strong. I know who you are. I know it. And so this is how I recognized Shri Mataji. It was instant. It was immediately, and I felt I had come home.
Jai Shri Mataji, hello dear brothers and sisters. So my story about recognition is, I don't have one moment or thousands of moments, maybe like small moments that you realize who Shri Mataji is. But for me it has a lot to do with the process inside myself, and the moments that I am really thoughtless, that then when I put my attention on Shri Mataji, her lotus feet, then I really feel who she is. And so every time it is a kind of a, how do you say that, a struggle between my ego and superego, trying to take away my attention from the spirit and from who Shri Mataji really is, and then going back again in meditation, or not even, it can be in any situation, feeling, oh no, wait a moment, I am the spirit, and Shri Mataji is who she is. So yes, it is more like that, and it is a constant process, a constant journey. And I'm slowly succeeding and getting closer to my own divinity, being the spirit, and therefore to Shri Mataji.
So I'm going to tell something about how I recognize Shri Mataji. It didn't happen very soon with me, actually only after 1 year doing Sahaja Yoga. When I came in Sahaja Yoga on the program of Krasnopolsky, it was Maggie who was the one, who gave me the folder and told me about the courses. And actually in the first year she was a little bit like my mom, the one when I didn't understand things or when I had some uncertainty, I always phoned her and asked her help. And then, I don't know even why, but after a year, I just asked, but Shri Mataji, Maggie, who is Shri Mataji actually? Who is she? And then Shri Mataji said, Shri Mataji is God. And then it was immediately, I just felt like, now I understand, of course she's God. It was really, it went in immediately and I never doubted anymore. It was like all the questions or so came together. But it is not like that suddenly, it is going very slowly, becomes more close to Shri Mataji. It's not that, suddenly everything changed. It is a growing process. And even I remember now a few days ago, I was in the center and I was cleaning a beautiful photo of Shri Mataji's face. And the moment I was doing it, I cannot explain how, but it was really Shri Mataji's face. It was not, I was not cleaning the photograph, I was really cleaning her face. And it was so special. I could feel the soft skin and all the shininess, and so it is just something that grows, and suddenly you have an experience that it is very strong, that of course she is God, and it's so special to be one of her children.
Hello, my name is Dominique. I started Sahaja Yoga in 1984 in the south of France, in Montpellier. At that time, there were not many yogis, one friend, and she was just new since 2 months in Sahaja Yoga, and she said, talk about this meditation, but there was no course material, so she told me straight away, Shri Mataji was God, she was the incarnation of Mary, and so I knew everything from the beginning, but not from inside really. So I was hesitating if I wanted my realization or not, and at the end she said, okay, if you want it, you go to Paris, and then there's another friend and we can do it with this person. So I said, okay, we went with another friend, we went all the way to Paris, and an appointment in this cafe in Boulevard Saint-Michel. And but inside me I was doubting a lot. I was afraid of going in a sect, and I had a bit difficulties that to meditate with the photo of Shri Mataji. So when they came in, I decided I would say no. But when they came in this cafe, they were so full of enthusiasm and happy and good vibrations. So she asked me, do you want your realization? I said, yes. I just completely changed my mind suddenly. So we went to the flat in Meudon in the south of Paris, and then they gave me realization with the exercise. It was a little bit strange because they were using candles and putting them much too close, and so it was burning in the back. And anyway, at the end, I got my realization, and 5 minutes later, I took the photo of Shri Mataji, I looked at it, and from very deep inside me I felt, but this is my mother. And I felt she was also the mother of everybody. And that's how my heart opened to Shri Mataji, and I recognized who she was.
Jai Shri Mataji. So the story I'm going to tell you is about when I went to my first puja in Cabella. It was Shri Adi Shakti Puja in 2005, and on the day of the puja itself there was a lot of anticipation because it was when Mother hadn't been so well, so she hadn't been physically present and or spoken to the yogis. So the question in everyone's minds was, would Mother come? And we had the great fortune that she was there. So I was sitting with the other Dutch yogis, and for some reason that year there were these decorations which meant that we couldn't see the stage. So, and I just was sitting there having a fight with myself, in my mind, saying, okay, but it really doesn't matter if you don't see Mother, because of course you could feel her presence, and but still I couldn't get this thought out of my mind. And I'm actually quite a shy person, so to get up after the puja had started, when Mother was already there, was even a little bit courageous, even if it wasn't quite according to the protocol somehow. So I got up and I walked back away from the stage, and finally found a space, and I just bowed down to Mother. And it's very hard to put into words, but I just felt this complete outpouring of love and compassion, and I just felt like my heart completely opened in a way that it just never had until then. So this for me was a very special moment, and for me it's the start of what I would say recognition from the heart. Jai Shri Mataji.
Hello, I'm Cecile, I'm from Norway, and I want to tell you a small story from when I first met Shri Mataji and what happened then. I had been seeking for many years through martial arts. I've been seeking through different false guru I've been meditating, doing lots of different sports. But at some point I came to the realization from within that I was seeking the truth, some kind of absolute truth. So that was my criteria, because all the places I went, it was all this doing this and that, and then you had to pay that, and you never got to the point. And I met a few masters which I was really disappointed with, because they didn't get me further on my spiritual journey. So that day in March in 1994 from Perth, I went with my husband to the University of Western Australia for a public program with Shri Mataji. She was there in person, and that was the first meeting I had with her. And then what happened quite early on in the speech, Shri Mataji, she said, and now I will tell you what is the truth. So then I thought, wow, here is a real spiritual master who is actually to the point of what I'm seeking. I just knew it didn't really matter what she would say after that, what kind of truth she was going to give to me. But I realized at that moment that this is the master I had been seeking, and it was like coming home in a way. And everything she was saying after that made so much sense. And I think the first programs I came to for a long time was only to listen to Shri Mataji's speech and all her words and all her wisdom and everything of the knowledge of Shri Mataji that she was enlightening me with. So thank you very much for listening. Namaste.
Hello, I'm Christine from Norway. I want to tell you about how I recognized Shri Mataji. It was actually more of a process. It wasn't something that just happened like that. But I once had a dream that helped me in to recognize Shri Mataji. So in that dream, Shri Mataji was sitting right in front of me, and she was really beautiful, and she said so many nice things to me that made me feel very good about myself. She was so sweet, and I just felt her love so much. But then in the dream I suddenly started having thoughts like, but hey, wait a minute, doesn't she know about all the bad stuff that I've been doing before? And then what happens the next second is that she manifested in a form that I'd never seen before. This one, she manifested as Sri Kali. And I just woke up from that dream and I was terrified because I didn't know this form. And I was like, oh no, maybe she doesn't like me, or what happened? So I called a yogi brother who I knew much about Shri Mataji and all her forms. And he told me about this form, and he said to me, you know, you're lucky, it was a really beautiful dream, and Shri Mataji actually scared away all the boots inside of you. So yeah, that helped me to strengthen my faith and recognition of Shri Mataji. Jai Shri Mataji.
I really came to Sahaja Yoga because of my uncle and auntie J.M. Deshpande and Nanda Deshpande from Delhi. I got my realization in 1985, 11th of February. So we assisted the public program there given by Shri Mataji. And it was surprising because I felt both of my thumbs tingling as soon as she entered the hall. Afterwards, I was very much impressed. First by her appearance, Shri Mataji's appearance, and then by her speech, because she talked about sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. So I liked it very much. But I didn't feel anything, no cool breeze, nothing at all. Then when I came back to Nagpur, while giving realization to my brother, I felt very much hot. So I was surprised in the act of raising the Kundalini. So I was surprised. And then gradually little experiences like how the bandhans were working, and like this, I said, okay, there is something special. But I didn't feel neither the Kundalini nor the cool vibrations so strongly. But then gradually, sometimes it was like doubtful, little bit I used to get it, but still I was doubting like this. But then once when I was in Pratishthan, and I was meditating on the terrace, and I suddenly felt Kundalini in my Sahasrara. And I said, that's it. It's like Eureka. So then I said, oh, okay, that is this. And perhaps Shri Mataji gave that experience because of my ego, perhaps, I don't know. And then I was sure what she is. No. So there are many more experiences like this.
Jai Shri Mataji, I'm Joaquin from Zaragoza, Spain. It was a spring in 85 here, and Shri Mataji came very soon, in June, only 4 months. Since I received my realization, and Shri Mataji came to Madrid. And the yogis invited me to know her. Okay, it's interesting to know the master of one group. At the moment it's like this, it's one group more that I knew, because in this time I'm learning. I was a yoga teacher in learning, and I was new information And it was for me important to know more about this. And I went to Madrid with very few time, no time for meditate, no time for to know about where I am. No, they told me we will go to one restaurant to take a dinner with Shri Mataji. Do you want to come? Oh, you must come. Okay, okay, it's nice. Okay, I went to them with them. And when I was there, is out of the city in Madrid, very, very far. And I don't know where I am. Everything, it was normally with natural way. And everything is prepared for the dinner. But before, they have also prepared other things. It's one Puja. But for me, it was it was a shock because I'm not ready for, my proposal in Madrid is not for this. Also, I think this is for them. It's not for me, it's for them. I decided to stay. I don't know what to do. Maybe I want to escape, but I don't know where I am. I don't know where to do. I decided to rest and started the Puja. Everything with very nicely, everything nice with Shri Mataji, very friendly, very like one family, one group. They are touching the feet of Shri Mataji, the top of the foot, the top, and I decide to do the same, to put my hand in the top of Shri Mataji. Of the feet, the top, and Shri Mataji take my hand and put in the back, under the back, under the foot. I felt immediately that's a little rough, and I put my hand in the top again, and Shri Mataji again take my hand and put in the under the foot. In this moment, I don't know what means these things. I don't know where in reality who is she. She is the goddess, but for me in this moment is one lady, is one master, is nothing more. I don't know that she is cleaning me, my Muladhara. When they went, the two yogis, they went, I stay there, I don't know. But I stay in front of Shri Mataji. Shri Mataji look at me and ask me, what about you? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Cleaning with one band on my head, the top of my hands, cleaning. Probably she knows very well that what is my problem. I cannot recognize her. And after this cleaning, something changed in my inside of me. Something changed, starting other feeling with the word mother. No? Before is nothing, but now after this, mother is one means different, no? In my mind, in my heart, starting something changing inside. Are you better? She asked me, are you better now? Yes, I'm better. I don't know exactly if I'm better, but I say yes. So Mataji, I'm better. May God bless you. She told me also one mantra, Mother, please come into my heart, to my sajrana, sorry. Mother, come into my sajrana, please come into my sajrana. And I stand up and I went. After of this, everything changed for me. After this dinner, I felt very well, like I remember the last dinner the Jesus Christ with the apostles. Shri Mataji white with her white sari and the long hair. I represent this image for me, Jesus Christ, and I felt fortunate to be there. Everything is starting to change for me in my life. No? After this, Sahaja Yoga started in Zaragoza, in my office, in our house, with my family. Everything, it was available to do Sahaja Yoga, starting Sahaja Yoga. No? Everything. This is the history of my life. This is the history of the Zaragoza, because it's the second city where starting Sahaja Yoga, Zaragoza. Also, the national meetings starting in my house, several years, very often. The yogis from all the Spain coming to my Zaragoza, to our house. It was a blessing. I cannot say nothing more. I feel very lucky, very fortunate. Yes, Mataji. Divine. Yes, Mataji.
It was a couple years after I started practicing Sahaja Yoga. In the beginning, a few months after this self-realization, I could definitely feel the cool breeze coming from Shri Mataji's photo. But mostly, it was either at collective programs or when meditating at home. There was an experience of giving self-realization to other people. Plus, I also joined pujas in a local center. Vibrations were flowing. The imaginary picture of Shri Mataji in my head was gradually filled with reality. I had no opportunity to see her in person at that time. In 2003, I went to Crimea on business. Coincidentally, there was a big Sahaja gathering for the Nirakar Guru Puja in Red Caves. It is a lovely place in the hills of the Crimean Mountains on the shores of the Black Sea. Several visiting yogis stayed at the place for a couple of days after the event. They offered me to check my vibrations collectively, testing my personal state. I was very enthusiastic about it since it was not common practice out there. At that time, I had such an understanding that this power exists somewhere beyond everything, but the vibrations and the Chaitanya, in its real form, are actually emitted from the image and do the living work in that way. Sahaja yogis asked me to sit down on the grass quite away from photo. It's okay, just relax. She is everywhere. She will surely guide us, they said. I was amazed at their confidence. Naturally, all we know that all of it is just her love everywhere. But do we really feel, recognize it, or see it somehow in a practical sense? I could not state that about myself. So we had a short workshop session, and they prescribed me a good portion of cleansing, which I followed religiously after returning home. It was early morning. An occasional thought was floating by. Plenty of things are being practiced. Still, nothing changes. Am I in the right path with these treatments and other things? At this moment, a new feeling started growing on the Sahasrara. It was like someone put a cold metal coin on your fontanelle, and it started quickly expanding and covering all of your head. All of the brains were submerged into a strong, cool flow of vibrations that seemed to come from nowhere and had no clear destination. They were just blowing there, inside. Vibrations could definitely be felt all over the body, all chakras, limbs, and fingers. They were coming from all directions. Whenever you kept attention on Mother Earth, it would respond with a cool flow. Same with your own chakras and blocks, which you could feel just keeping attention inside. A few days later, I was walking in nature, doing nothing special. Suddenly, a fresh airflow started blowing apparently from nowhere. You could feel it everywhere. I opened my hands and was turning in all directions to find out where the source was, but still could not locate anything. Finally, I turned to the sun, which was setting down, and drawing a bright reddish-orange painting in the sky. And that was it exactly. The breeze was coming from the sun. I stopped. I could not move at all. I was exploring it and found many sources of vibrations in nature and people living around, especially Sahaja yogis coming back from pujas. That was just an amazing feeling when you simply approach somebody and a fresh breeze begins to hold you from every side. And the most powerful was the next collective puja. All of it lasted for some time, though I did not manage to fix myself in that state. That was a short but clear experience, so I could no longer doubt where the all-pervading power really exists.
There was a farmer in near Rauri, and in the night 3 men came to steal some sugar cane. And next day they came and they said, "Which goddess do you worship?" He said, "Why?" There were 3 hefty people watching guarding your field. And we came just to, we thought better take some of this sugar cane after all. It looks so nice. And they beat us. Of course, we never got hurt. So just behind this recognition is all the powers. There are so many stories I can tell you. How things have happened, how it has worked. But if you are doubting, still half faith, this, that, then things won't be all right. You shouldn't worry about your reputation. Just go with full speed into any direction, knowing one thing, that you are my child and that I am Adi Shakti. Everything that looks horrible will become better. We have seen it now in this France case and all that, what has happened. Don't worry about anything. Just know that I am the Adi Shakti. That all the powers of gods and goddesses and all that are within me. And they are within me and they are all looking after. But if that recognition is not there, they are not going to recognize you either.